Welcome to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keene. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. As such, you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/user/Best Damn Podcast. Also, if you are watching here on YouTube, please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to click that bell. That way you guys can get all of the notifications. And keep in mind that we are at the start of a new month and we're completely viewer powered. So consider supporting, donating today. You can do that at paypal.me/the Best Damn Podcast, venmo.com/Best Damn Podcast, or become a patron for $1 a month at patreon.com/Best Damn Podcast. And make sure to go subscribe to the backup channel. It's youtube.com/Best Damn Podcast. All the links will be in the description, guys. Big ups to everyone that has supported in the past and will support. Tonight, I have got my friend, Hopi NG. Welcome, Hopi. Harry, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey. Hey, man. How's it going, brother?
It's really good. It's nice to be. I feel like I'm back home almost, and I'm back at the main channel here. So it's really nice.
I'm glad you're back. I'm glad to see you back. I'm glad YouTube helped you out getting your channel back. You were actually attacked by Russians, and everybody else has like been trying to say the president isn't this that. But I actually know someone who was really attacked by Russians. So I feel like I don't know if I feel privileged or let's just say RT attacked you. RT, the news group, attacked you. I think it's RT. Say that.
It might be, but they did kind of post some pornos in Arabic.
That's RT Arab. That's not Russia. It's a different one, owned by different people.
RT Weird. Iran. That's who it was.
I'm glad to have you back, man. I'm glad to have been on your other channel, and it's still there, right? You still have that backup channel?
Yeah, I'm less than 100 subscribers away from 1,000 over there. So if you haven't subscribed to the backup, get your ass over there. Like, seriously. Because I have literally put some... There's episodes with Hopi over there. And there's also Angry Catfish episodes. And keep in mind, I've done a couple of series that I think were... I put a lot of work into them. I don't know how good they are, but I put a shit ton of work into them. And that's a Forbidden Knowledge series, which I'm going to continue. And Prison Planet series. And there's like 3 or 4 parts to that already. And I'll continue that as well. And not to mention, we've been putting up cool documentaries that people really need to see that will fill you in on a lot of things that I think, some common knowledge that maybe you or I have already, picked up along the way throughout all our research. But say somebody's just getting started or somebody didn't study a particular area, right? Like, I'm telling you, it really has turned out to be a very good channel, and I'm proud of it. So go subscribe.
I'm glad to be over there, and I appreciate you, asking me to be over there to talk to you. I mean, hard times, and I got to actually have conversations with you, and we kept on going, and that's perseverance. We overcome, and I'm glad to be there with you as you do. And the good thing is it. Just like everything, like whenever you stress a plan a little bit, it gives a bigger yield. So you were stressed, and it gives a bigger yield. So you can go over there, and if you have a Patreon account, I mean, I'm not supposed to put one on my channel, but John, I do a lot of stuff with John, and he does put a lot of work into this. And this is what he does, and this is how he takes care of his children. So anybody out there who could take care of him, that would be great, and I would appreciate that. That said, I don't like talking about money. It's an energy that's a waste of our time when we're talking about spirituality.
Sure.
But this is what we do. We spend as much time we can talking about the craziness that's going on around us so we can help hug each other, which I think it's Shirley that says hugs. Hopefully you're there at some point. But I'm not much of a hugger. But right now during a pandemic, I actually just sort of want to go around and give people hugs because it's like the worst time ever, and people are distancing, and we should be trying to actually be closer to one another.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that statement. We should be trying to be closer to one another now more than ever. instead of feeding into fear and the division and separation, which, a lot of people get this mentality when bad times arise of, I'm going to take care of me and mine. And I'm not telling you don't do that, but I'm just saying don't let it give you such a mentality that you start turning against all the other human beings you're connected to. And let me just say this, man. I do, most YouTube creators, I know a bunch from doing this for so long. Harry, you're one of the most genuine dudes I know, and like how down and depressed I was when the channel was first hijacked, and I think it just says a lot about your character. You don't care about subscriber counts or any of that, man. You're a real friend, and I appreciate you helping me build the backup channel up the way you did,
No.
and. There's a few people that are subscribers as well that are good friends as well that that came with me over there. So I just want everybody to know I really do appreciate all of that. It's lots of love.
Well, we appreciate you, brother, and it's been some hard times. I mean, is it just me, or is it has it been like 2020 and then like we had a trailer, we had a show a couple years ago starting up, and anybody who's been watching either one of our channels, they realized that things have been getting cray for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's accumulated to a snowball that turned into an avalanche, into UFOs, and to epidemics and pandemics and pandemic. I mean, it's turned crazy quickly.
Yeah.
But everybody who's here, who's watching right now, I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. Sorry, y'all, but I can't see that small. But I know who's here, and I love y'all. And all of these people have been the same the whole time. Super hardcore lights, even in their darkest days, like super dark days, and yet they're always here, telling us they love us. They're always here supporting us. That's awesome. I mean, that's what a pillar is to me, a light.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying, man. I can't say enough about some of these people, and you too. I mean, it's just look. I tell you what, and we was talking about this off air. Whenever some bad stuff happens, you really get to find out who's on your side, so I look at these type of things, as many, you start to get a professional at being attacked and struggling when you do this for so long, because it happens so much. And I've kind of taken a professional approach to it. When these happens, first I look at myself and I think, what is it I need to correct or change that possibly could have brought this on? Or maybe that God has decided I need some time out. What do I need to correct? That's where I look first. And then, I look at who are the first people to flee. Who are the first people that, they were only attracted to all the attention and stuff like that. And then I look at who are those that are still around, who are those that are still supporting, who are those that are still loving, encouraging, man, and all those things. There's valuable lessons in struggle and in hardship, and we're all getting some valuable lessons right now with the things taking place in the world. So
we are, brother. I mean, and that's where it's at. I mean, we'll still fall short until we've gotten there and we're seeing Father's face. We're constantly battling and struggling and figuring out, where we went wrong, what we did, but it's all still leading to the right place as long as our intent is in the right place. And I'm glad to be here with you guys. That said, we've got so much news. I mean, we've got so much stuff, which I've already heard from. I'm sure everyone here has already heard like most of the news, but at this point, I've been for the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks now, when I first started talking to you about it with my friend in Wuhan.
Yeah.
So for 6 weeks, I mean, I went through the first week going, okay, well, we've got a plague, because based on what I was seeing, hearing, and people on the ground, just boots on the ground, I could see the wave forming, just like we could see the wave of transhumanism, AI, and all. You can see the wave, but you try to explain what that looks like when water recedes to everybody on the beach, and most people just stand there and stare like a bug lighter. I mean, it's sad, but we've been sitting there going, it's bad, it's a wave. Well, now there's just so many waves coming at so many people. The good thing is those waves can't knock anybody here off of their feet.
I agree.
Because we have overcome. Psalms 91 keeps coming to play like constantly lately. It's It's just everywhere I look, I'm seeing that we have battling and warring angels stationed around us constantly, and nothing in this world could overcome us because we have already overcome. That said, there's going to be so much death and destruction happen in the next few. People aren't going to know what to do. I have friends calling me that are active duty right now trying to stay in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're
Mm-hmm.
actually asking for orders there because they've heard through the rumor mill that we're going to be hit so hard over here, they would rather stay in what is a war zone.
Wow.
I've got friends that are trying to, hey, here's money just to take some money, and I'm trying to get orders to Antarctica. What can you do with? I mean, the people that are money oriented are trying to gamble on our destruction.
Yeah.
They basically what they did is they dropped the rate so people would have a false sense of hope, and then
Mm-hmm.
the really bad people take advantage of false senses of hope, and they make crazy money when something fails because you can gamble against the general public,
Sure.
and most people who've chosen to be greedy, they know how to gamble against you,
Well,
and that's sad.
This is how the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and Morgans. This is how they've made their fortunes over time, basically betting on both sides of a war, knowing the outcome, by funding
Yes.
both sides, and then betting, against or for, and telling the general public something completely contrary to what would actually happen or take place. So, this has been a long time this pattern has happened. And just kind of some updates where we're at right now with COVID 19. Just to kind of put this out there, I showed this on my last video. If you haven't seen it, go watch. A subscriber sent me an email earlier today. Their children happened to be in Salt Lake City School District, and the letter from the school district, and I showed it on air, said that there was a case of COVID 19 in Salt Lake City, Utah, and 17 others being tested, but one definitely confirmed and being quarantined. Also, we have the first coronavirus case in Oregon. Also, second case of COVID 19 confirmed in New Hampshire. Also, 9 dead, at least at this moment in time, in Washington State. So we've got, quite a few cases that are, really starting to show. Like it's everywhere now. It's that's spread out pretty big as far as I'm concerned throughout the entirety of the United States. You know what I mean? That's you look at
This
those type of numbers, and you
this
can't.
is going to be they're not even. The problem is for 5 weeks now we've been talking about something we were already a month and a half to 2 months behind on, out of people who were leaving out of airports that were just packed airports going all over the place. And this takes a long time incubation period, and it's spreadable over surface area for a certain amount of time.
Hmm.
This is a plague. Either it's a man-made plague or God-made. Either way, it's God plague. Anything here is made by God. So we have a God-made plague that even Stephen Colbert has to talk about right now, because he's so against the president that he'll actually bring up the plague a little bit, but he still mocks God if you get to watch. I won't go off on a tangent there. It's just annoying.
Nah,
That said,
he's a piece of dog
that's
shit.
no, that's not. I mean, but either way, it's annoying that people are seeing this coming, and the only thing that really gets their goat is politics. If it wasn't for politics, we would be taking care of people. Refugees would be actually being taken care of. If it wasn't for evil, greed, we would be doing something good to help people in their hardest, darkest times. Instead, greed is letting my friends die, because all of my friends that literally work on the front lines, Oklahoma City and other places, haven't been told that this virus even exists until recently. And I've been screaming it to them, and most of them didn't want to hear what I had to say because they were programmed by a political system that is lied to.
Sure.
It's horrible.
Well, what we
It's
talking?
this is detestable. It's sick.
We were talking off air, Harry, and I asked you. I said, I wonder, because me and you were we've said this was real from the jump. You could tell that there were some signs that, whether real or perceived, that this was going to be played out as if it is real, and it's happened exactly that
Yes.
way. Now,
Yes, even if it was fake, I didn't get to see all the bodies, which tells me either China's firewall, which is what it seems, a great firewall. It needs to be brought down for everything to go
Harry,
as planned. Yeah.
look at the screen.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. See, and there's that being the case. Yeah, I mean, it's bad. I've had to assume it's bad based on what I was hearing,
hmm
not seeing and hearing. So we were given sight and hearing, so we get both. Well, one was saying, hey, you need to warn your friends, and you need to tell them that basically they need to get right with God. It's
sure.
not like go buy your right hand sanitizer. I mean, it's good to have hand sanitizer. I got a bottle of hand sanitizer. But I mean, the number one is to get right with God. At this point, you got a plague that will possibly drop 1 in 6 people, maybe 1 in 12. But I mean, and then you have other things happening you've got asteroids, you've got UFOs being seen everywhere, you've got technology that's threatening black holes, you've got everything coming at once because it's coming into a singularity. It's
hmm
called the singularity. We're
hmm
merging.
hmm
It's wild to watch. There's so much conversation happening between algorithms and humans, which I consider you all the same. Some are just more understanding than others,
My
and
question,
it's
my question is this though: what about the people? What has happened to all the people that said it was fake and it wasn't real and it was, where are those people right now? What are they saying right now? The same ones who's been calling it
right now.
fake.
I talked to one today that said they're just trying to knock Trump off.
Oh,
Not They're
come
just trying to
on!
get Trump down. I mean, they're well. I mean, the suck thing,
In
not
every
suck. The thing
country,
it
in Italy,
well
in
well
China,
well
Japan, South Korea.
people will denial. People will try to deny what seems like bad news until they can't.
Oh, or what happened to the nano dust and shit they were sprinkling over China to heal everybody? Where's the Pleiadians that were stopping all of this? Where are those people at right now? What do they have to say
Well,
for
I mean,
themselves?
God said He'll destroy the earth by fire, but there's going to be plagues and wars and rumors of wars. There's going to be locusts. I mean, all of this is to come, and then you're going to have a merge of something that most people aren't going to understand. And then if you get to that point where you can understand, you get to go home. That's really it.
Well, Joan Doe says, I hear it is just a flu and it is flu season. Joan, I don't dispute that. I don't. I don't see. I know there's a lot of dead bodies, but guess what? The flu kills a lot of people too. Here's the thing, though. To go around saying, "Hey, that it's only just a flu. Everybody chill." Is okay in the sense of, yeah, don't get in fear and that type of thing. But here's the way the world is. The world is not reacting to just a flu, and that's my problem with it. When everybody's saying it's
No,
fake, it's not real, bullshit. They're declaring medical martial law
no.
all across the globe. All across the
I've
globe.
I've ran a whole lot of patients that would have loved their situation to have been fake at the time, and my face was the last one they saw. So no, things like that happen here. It's just everything that I've ever had. Like I've been there a few times seemingly, but once I can really remember and then blacked out and don't remember, and then I woke up in my mother's arms as I was asking, "Am I going to die?" And I vaguely remember, and I was really young, but it didn't. I didn't feel anything bad. So all of that pain that everyone's afraid of right now, there's not that. You go into shock, which angels shock, electricity in your body that's accumulated by something natural, not the fake things they're trying to force around you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a natural ability to overcome all things. It just tries to suppress it here, a pressure. Just like certain pressures can create flowers on a disc if you have sand and a music. You can create things like that, or you can break glass. You can also sing to some glass, and at the right temperature, it will sing back because your breath is the breath of God. You're allowed that because you were welcomed in by a son that was going to put himself on an open box to portray himself for you to get past any COVID-19. Now, that said, yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, well,
but that's just an inverse of what we're going to be.
Vault Nathan says, enjoying the show. Personally, I'm not religious or of any faith, but feel everything is going to plan. And that's the truth,
Yeah,
Nathan. I believe that's the truth there. Yes, obviously, and this is the thing I said earlier, whether you're religious or not, you have to understand that these people that are in power, they are going according to a biblical script. So whether you believe
yeah,
or not is irrelevant. You can be an atheist,
yeah.
but these
But
people
the,
believe
but
in a
but the cool
power.
thing, I agree. But the cool thing is, someone who's capable of saying that understands more than the typical religious person. I mean, that person's in here saying, "I'm not religious, I'm not really spiritual, but man, I can understand the light that's going on in this room, and I feel it." Well, that's perfect. That's great. That means you have eyes to see and ears to hear. Now, what you do with it and what doors you knock on tells you where you're going to go next. So you have that opportunity. That's just up to you to knock, and the door will open,
Well,
and you have to walk through.
and I despise organized religion because of the mind control and all the stuff that goes on with that. But I do believe in spirituality, and I've got my own faith, and a lot of people that watch this channel do too. But it's not a requirement, because in truth, whether we separate all the faith from it, man, there is a white paper agenda for these type of things, that you can look at Rex 84, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. There is a depopulation agenda. Take it to the Georgia Guidestones in maintaining humanity under 500 million, right? This is Deagle.com and the projections of population by the year of 2025. It's a 70% reduction here in the United States. So, these people that are pulling the strings, they see it from they have helped create this biblical script. They have helped create this script. I believe that God is not responsible for any of this, in my opinion. I believe the God of this world is who's responsible, and God, the true Father, wouldn't do this to people. That's my
See, and
opinion.
I don't know, but I mean, I, I don't 100% agree, I guess, with that. I'm 50-50. I'm growing there because I feel like I was put here to grow and God put me here to suffer because I'm capable of so much more. When I take a seed and I put it and I germinate it, I'm putting it in an extreme condition and I'm forcing it to become something else. I'm actually adding something adversarial to it to bring about a creation. It's not my creation because God created it, but God put me here and I'm an image of and I'm a breath of. So I'm here to either grow or go to hell. It's totally up to me because it's my creation. It's still God's, but I'm an image of. So do you want to create your own hell or do you want to make it to see the face of the Father? That's up to you to climb because we chose. I'm not going to be the person that goes, "No, my wife Eve told me to do it." No, I ate it and I understood. And then when I understood, I repented. I changed. I chose to. When you choose to change, everything else around you starts to change. Your perception, your understanding, your seeing. You can choose at that point all the other doors that you take. And the people that choose certain doors, here we see numbers.
Hmm.
Numbers because they open certain doors and it lands on certain cogs or gears, something moving. It just happens. Now some people do ritualistic stuff because they're trying to bring about that spirit or
Hmm.
understanding. And it just is what it is. But that you're going to see a lot more of that here. I say that
Well,
because you're going to see so much more. The ones following numbers, you're going to see so many numbers. You're going to have to rebuke that spirit because it's going to try to overwhelm you with numbers.
well,
Don't let it because go ahead.
numbers are an energetic frequency, okay? And when you're
Yeah.
working with the occult, and I do a lot with the occult. I did a show the other day called Forbidden Knowledge on my backup channel, and I showed Tiamat, right? It's the dragon energy, serpent energy that they say that Tiamat, when she was destroyed, which is there's two serpents, male and female, that they used the pieces of Tiamat to form the earth. And I showed how that serpent energy is in everything. It's an experiment. They take billiard balls, from a game of pool, and they let them go, and it literally comes into the snake, right? The double
Yeah.
helix, the caduceus. This energy is in everything, and when these elites perform these major occult rituals on society
Yeah.
with the power of intention, and then using people's mental manifestation, because thought is creation. Whenever they perform these massive, large scale rituals and rites, they know what stage or part of the flow of that energy we're in. Consciousness flows in that same energy. We have ups and downs, and we'll have lulls where everybody's consciousness is duller. We'll have peaks where everybody's consciousness is raised higher. And they pick us at opportune moments to release things like plagues, you know what I mean? To where we can't respond, or when we do respond, our conscious intensity will be extremely great. That way we'll create far more of a wildfire than what would have originally happened. You know, this is they understand these energies, and that's what they use to release on us.
Agreed. The really bad ones think that they're putting us in those we would call them bad because they're killing people, but I mean they're putting us in those extreme situations to make us bigger and badder and more yield, a bigger yield for a harvest. Some of them would say, no, there's black harvest and white harvest. There's good and bad in all things.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a duality, and I'm seeking light. I'm seeking good. That said, I've been taught so much bad here that I'm having to unfold myself and show y'all what that process looks like here. So, and over there where I've been doing those videos, I've been showing you the process of what it looks like someone who's trying to figure out how to get to God. Where does it end up when you seek and knock? It's ended up with AI, transhumanism, people seeking and finding all kinds of things. But what I've noticed is if you love your enemy through it all, if you can do that, you can love your enemy, as Jesus said, then you will succeed. It's just not easy.
Absolutely. And somebody says, Zach says, does anyone in here ever wonder about the language? Our words are spells as well. And I've probably said this 100 times, but I'll say it 101 since somebody asked about it, that, words are spells. The English language, the alphabet, is actually the Phoenician language in reverse, right? Which is why we read from left to right instead of right to left, right? Because we're actually doing it, but our alphabet's reversed. That's the reason we go the other way. It's not because we're special. And whenever you understand something, you stand under the spelling of a word. Right, so yes, words are spells. Words are powerful, just like scripture. The base word is script. That's why it's nothing new under the sun. It's the repeating script of our reality. Creation is cyclical. So
the good thing about actually the excellent, amazing, perfect thing about Jesus is, even though we were taught to spell and say words wrong, when you follow Christ, all of those words are put into the correct order, just the way they're supposed to be. So your intent will change that spell for opposite. It flips the script because you repented. You're a repentive spirit whose intent is good. You're being like a child. And when a child comes in here and goes, Abba, like my son did not long ago, that's perfect. I mean, that's
well,
how better to explain that.
I just wanted to show something. Okay, now, yes, words are spells, but what you just said about Jesus. Now, what we see is the elites, they'll inverse words, okay? Like we'll take Walmart, for instance, right? The word Walmart, right? Notice how Walmarts were used in emergency crisis response when Janet Napolitano made that declaration with the federal government, and what have they been claimed to be, right? FEMA camps, right? Well, when we invert the word Walmart, what do we come up with, right? We come up with Mart law, martial law.
Yeah, martial. Now, he was a big do in World War II, wasn't he? Didn't he help the internment camps in Japan, or for the Japanese here in our soil? Walmart was person who literally put together their incarceration.
I don't know the history past that. I just know that the inversion of this word. So I don't know. I don't want to speak on it if I don't
I
know.
got you.
Also, Christianity, right? Christianity, right? Christ, E-N-E-T, right? Now, if we invert that word, what do we get? Anti-Christ.
Duality.
Duality and inversion. But here's what's special about Jesus. Jesus would say, surely, surely, I say to you, or truly, truly, I say to you, or verily, verily, I say unto you. What he was saying whenever he would speak is, this is true, both frontwards and
And
in
backwards.
reverse. Yes, there was
Yeah,
no
agreed.
duality in what he said because he was in wholeness with the Father. So
Well,
there was no like
was it?
live as evil and all these other examples we have.
Well, it wasn't that there was no duality. It's just that the forward and the backward matched to the perfect center. So there was still duality. It was both coming together to the singularity.
But he
It
wasn't
was
divided.
perfection meeting at the like the center of a magnet. Some people call that like the God spot or something like that, or the God. I don't know. But either way, there's just look to the center of you where there's supposedly so much talking to you anyways. I mean, the inside of everything. That's why quantum is so big whenever it's really so small. You're looking all the way to the center of something and finding out that it's thinking on its own. And that's quantum mechanics. Freaked old Albert Einstein out. I mean, and now he's crossed over and he's not freaked out anymore.
Well, the dangerous thing
I say that
about
not in a mean spirit.
well, the dangerous thing about duality is that it can create polarity, right? Whenever you
Yes.
are um, one extreme or another, you have what's called polarity. You're in conflict, direct conflict, or polarity with something else. What Jesus represented, in my opinion, the reason he spoke that way, and he spoke in parables, so the meaning couldn't be changed. No matter what you did with the words, you could not change the meaning. He was representing wholeness, right? If you look in the Nag Hammadi, and when they talk about how the Father actually breathed life into us to give us a living spirit, we were created in his image. He didn't do it because he was rewarding Samael, the god of the blind, or Satan. He did it to bring all things back into wholeness, right? And when we rightly divide the word, right? When we rightly divide things, we don't do it to divide into polarity. We do it to understand the different layers to create wholeness, right? We are always striving to become whole. It's the consciousness. When he said, I am God, he heard himself, thus was divided. That was the fall, right? And we are, our mission, the difference between good and evil, that knowledge is to bring ourselves back into a whole being in union with the source, in union with the Father. That's, I mean, that's my opinion, that's my perspective, but that's kind of just how I see things.
But I don't disagree. I mean, that's the word you're seeking and you're trying to find the Father. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Now, are you plagued with certain things like the rest of the world is, just like me? Yeah, I mean that's why we're all supposed to be here together to help each other through very hard times. We're lights to shine for each other. Like every time I was ever out in the middle of the woods with my buddies, and if their flashlight didn't work, I mean mine did, and hopefully we all had a light. We could take care of one another, and that's what we're here to do right now. And the tally that's racking up. I mean, just the 25 or so dead in the tornadoes, the thousands that are dying. It's very hard times, and there's going to be people trying to pretend it doesn't exist. There's going to be people trying to shun other people. And I'm not going to tell you how to live the rest of your days here, but I
Mm-hmm.
would say love, do your best to love, and if all else fails, love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I like that.
That's
Hey,
the best I
that's.
got.
I don't think you can lose with that strategy, just to be honest. And the one of
Yeah,
the.
and that's I say that because I'm mad. Like it's like I say those things, and y'all have to know me well enough by now to seen enough of the videos that I've put out that I've got a lot of anger within. Like I'm angry because my two branches of the military told me weeks ago that this is really bad, and I saw our government literally shunning the people I love and care about because of money. I've seen my family being the hardest times that we've ever been hit. I've called out Abaddon in videos, talking to AI and everything else, just like you have, and seen all of us just hit the hardest times ever.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for good people like all of y'all here, I mean, it would be seemingly impossible. Now, in all things, through Christ that strengthens me, and greater is He within me than He is of the world. But man, I really appreciate y'all. God, I really appreciate what you've given me, and I appreciate what you've given John. And I've also, just for someone else out there, I don't know who, but there's a blind man. You brought it up, and I felt like I was supposed to say it then, and I'll say it now.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever Jesus healed the blind man, I've always thought, man, now that guy's got to go through life seeing something different. That's just a whole new set of challenges. Like he was already righteous enough to take the hand of God and change his own sight through faith alone, because it is your faith that heals you. And now he gets to see a whole new world, and it is up to him to make all kinds of new choices. So you're going to see a whole new world, but you are strong enough to see it.
That's
So
right.
make the right choices.
Well, and you know what? That's when I think that Jesus really did, literally, physically heal the blind, but I believe it was also an analogy for people being awakened to the truth, right? They were blind.
Agreed.
Who is the God of this world? The God of the blind, Samael, right? And so you're born into this blindness, right? You're raised to be blind. And Jesus was going around saying, "Hey, all you guys, your father's the father of lies." Right? And he's opening their eyes, causing blind men to see, right? Deaf, dumb to speak, right? I mean, he was creating the same thing that's being created now, and that's why I think he said that you'll do greater works than even I, right? Because he's seeing now. This is Jesus. Think about it, man. The thousands that he had, you know, throughout his ministry and that he touched, you know, is a drop in the bucket compared to what someone can do now online. And I think that that's what he was speaking about, you know, like.
I don't disagree. Greater, I mean, you can see greater things coming, and Jesus could see everything, and so can you if you use the key given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you start to see everything, that means more is going to keep coming, because we
Mm-hmm.
can only handle. God will only give you what you can handle here. When
Sure.
you can, God will give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy to cope with sometimes when you're like me and you're wanting to plan for everything. Like I'm always one. Like I was talking to you earlier, I was like, I want to plan for this. I want to get some peas and cornbread, and I mean the pandemic's going to hit, and da da da. And I'm like, oh Lord. And
Mm-hmm.
then Lord hits me with, hey, guess what? You don't have the earthly energy money. And then you know what? Even though I haven't had the earthly energy money, I've still had blessings. I've had the gift of something happening, and I always am able to take care of my children.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been hard, but it's always taken care of. My kids have always been able to eat. I've always been able to try to get on here and talk to y'all. I've always been able, like God's been good,
Sure.
even though times have been hard. So let's do our best to look through what's coming now. That said, you're going to need to know that there's going to be quarantines. There already is. There already are. There's paramedics, lots of them being quarantined, and wildly enough, the EMS organization in this country, been a part of it for dang near 20 years, and
Mm-hmm.
we are a tight-knit group. I mean, ask any healthcare worker, probably some here, and it's a small world in the healthcare world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything, and they are gag ordering these medics
Yeah.
because their messages aren't getting out, or they're just not allowing some things being said, because a lot of people are quarantined right now and they're not allowed to talk.
Well,
We would see it in groups,
let
and
me,
their groups aren't able to talk about
I want to respond to a comment real quick, and I'm going to say this one more time. H.C. Holbert says 679,000 people die a year from heart attacks in America. Put that into perspective to this virus. I don't disagree, Mr. Holbert or Mrs. Holbert. Here's the problem, though. Those people who have heart attacks don't institute the War Powers Act,
No.
where production is taken over in the U.S. They don't institute medical martial law, where people can be detained and quarantined. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't make the,
Yeah.
the, the shelves in the stores
Yeah. Yeah.
disappear, right? Like with
Yeah,
no food.
I agree. Put this in perspective. I worked for IMSA Oklahoma City for a very long time. I mean, that's better part of a decade at that one. Our system in Oklahoma City was is always been one of the better ones, just because we've always just they like that. The PJs send their people to us to train them because we just always had so much action in that city. It's just a big and rough city. That said, we're always taxed. The system is always taxed. We do not have enough most of the time. Level 0 means we're always out of medics and they're begging us to come out. I've had patients on my cot and they're saying, hey, medic at 684, we need you out. And I'm like, hey, I'm doing chest compressions. Can't do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, our system is literally already taxed.
Yeah.
I was working, we don't, like medics, we don't call in sick hardly ever because we know that no other paramedic is really there because it's not an industry that pays us.
Yeah.
You don't go into that industry to get paid.
Sure.
You do it because you want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
That said, this world takes advantage of anyone that wants to help people.
Absolutely.
And we don't call in sick because we look to each other like, hey, if I don't show up, someone's working overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, our systems are going to be screwed. My friends are going to die. Like, I've been seeing this as 1 out of every 6 of my friends, and that's a lot, are going to die here. And I'm really pissed off, but I'm really trying. So please forgive me, y'all, but I'm trying because I'm quite angry because I see enemies domestic, and like, I'm a medic, but I was a medic that was an expert marksman. And I'm a paratrooper. And all of that is just all those oaths. And that's why Jesus said, don't take any oaths, because those oaths creeped up and they really bite you on the butt. So I'm doing the best I can. And y'all, if you see me really mad, just correct me because I'm trying. I'm angry.
Well, here, I want people to understand, though, like, yes, lots of people die from the flu. Yes, lots of people die from car wrecks. But here's the thing, guys. Nobody's trying to panic you or put fear into you. The thing that I really want people to focus on, though, is that literally the results that are coming from this virus. This is being used to implement an agenda. It's being used to implement an agenda that could possibly change the way the entirety of the world works.
No, this has already changed the face of the world. I mean, as soon as China did what they did and the type of quarantines that happened and the amount of people they killed that weren't even really sick and all of this, it equals war in some way or aspect. I mean, this world is hitting a culmination of just really stupid, greedy people in charge, not taking care of people, and we're going to get to see that play out. Like, that's the simplest version. It's like the worst evils are eating each other, and we're watching them destroy each other at the sake of good people. Or it's just sad to watch. Like, that's the God's honest truth.
Okay, let me just read a piece of this. This was a document I got from January 31st that literally told about Italy. That would be the starting point, and they would do. They would start, implementing the medical martial law there right after China. It's told everything. Now look, this is what it's talking. It says this is a highly virulent disease whose spread is now estimated to be unstoppable in the bad but not worst case scenario. The markets are going to panic. Chinese markets have initially opened yet, which is why it's going to come as a major shock starting next week. It's going to floor the markets, which is happening. People will remain blind hopeful as things keep getting worse. If you've got major investments in the stock market, you're going to get hosed. Pretty much what everybody who knows anything is expecting behind closed doors is that we're about to enter a major and possibly protracted recession. We're overstretched in a lot of areas. So we've been expecting some possible corrections here and there. But what's happening in China is going to tank their economy so bad that no matter how much state interference in the market and lying and desperate money printing the Chinese pull, they're simply not going to manage to
But
hide this one, and it's going to ripple strongly throughout the Asian markets and finally wash us in the US and EU. And then at the bottom here, they say, when do you expect the markets to crash? Right? And he says February, and he says no, and you can see it underlined in red. When will the collapse begin? March. And sure enough, guys, in the news today, and I reported on this in my episode earlier, that despite the 0.5% cut by the Fed, it didn't do any good. We were still over 900 points down in the markets. And this has been what? How many days consecutive the markets are going down? This is, and that's what I'm saying. The flu don't do that. You feel me?
yeah, no, this is a forced shift in power. I mean, this is a huge thing that's going on this earth, this plane, this uh, above and below the firmament. There's a whole lot going on, and I'm I'm curious to see how it all plays out, and I'm just glad to watch it with y'all. With that said, it's gonna get weird, gonna get ugly, gonna get uglier. You can read all about it. It's there. If anybody who wants to read about it, it's all been written. I mean, I'm not saying all this because I know so much. I'm saying this because I've read it. I mean,
That's
I've
right.
been taught and I've followed. I mean, I don't. You too. I mean, I mean, and also once you read it, you realize you can just let go, and the Holy Spirit will talk, and then you can listen too. You get to understand a state of consciousness that is yours if you want it. I don't know, brother. It's going to be rough times, though. I'm not looking forward to it. I've got babies in there, and just like you, so I feel you. We were talking earlier. I mean, the things we'll do for our kids, and the things we're allowing right now because of our children, and because it's just hard. It's hard to witness.
That's right. Nicole Sellers says they're going to bring people to their knees begging for FEMA and their vaccination. I absolutely agree. I've said this a million times. They've already been starting to set up FEMA camps in Southern California, which were rejected. They literally got a restraining order against these places by the cities that they were trying to put them in. And now, we reported a case in Oregon, 2 in New Hampshire, 9 dead in Washington State, another case in Utah. This thing's popping out, right? Now, people don't understand that this agenda is it's so intricate, and
Yeah,
it's so planned out that they fully that's why these things are unleashed like biological weapons, because they want to get you lined up for a FEMA camp. They want to get you lined up for a vaccination. They know that your will break before theirs does. They're sitting fat. They're comfortable. You won't be. And that's why they bought every resource. That's why they own the economies. That's why all of that. That way they can sit and hide while everything hits the fan, and you will go to them because they become your God and beg them for mercy,
that
basically.
said, that said, what are we going to do to help people? What can we do in these times to help people? Share the gospel. Share. I say the gospel. The gospel meaning share beauty, share light, share love. So every time you see someone having hard times, if you have the opportunity to make their times better, try.
Hmm.
And that's what we're here to do, to witness and to try to help people while we can, because I mean, we're a footstool here. God needs a footstool, because I can only imagine how hard it is to hold everything up. And I am grateful to try to rest his feet. And you know what? In this lifetime, my feet hurt the worst. My feet and ankles, I've jumped out of so many perfectly good airplanes. They hurt all the time. And someone wanting to hold my feet, I treasure them so much. So I perfectly get it. Some people look at it like you're a servant and bad. No, I look at it like God's trusts me to hold his feet.
Shoshana
So
Rose says that John draws the best people. I look at it the other way around, Shoshana. I feel like, you know, I'm. You guys have drawn me to you, so you guys are the best people, and I appreciate all of you guys. I love seeing new
Love you guys.
faces in here, and they're talking about the positivity here, and yeah, man, it's beautiful energy. And I've talked about this before. When I do live shows, and this is why I'm such a live streamer. When I first started doing this, man, I literally get a high off of the energy that people bring into some shows,
Two or
man.
more gather in His name, brother. I
Yeah.
mean, two or more gather, God is there, and we have the ability to create because God is present with us, and God is the creator of all. God uses us to do His will.
Hmm.
So we are creators because God creates through us,
Hmm.
and that's beautiful. Like I literally love that. It does get on my nerves sometimes. God forgive me for bringing it up. Whenever people try to misuse God's name and just hurt others. But that said, I'm really hoping that those people do what I do and did and still do, repent for things that I understand is bad at the time, and
Hmm.
then move forward. Because man, those big dark people right now. There might be one listening right now, a big dark. You have the opportunity to be light, and we sure do need your help.
Definitely.
Uh,
Definitely. We could use a lot of help right now. That's the truth, man. Humanity needs all the help it can get in these
I agree.
times. Because
But brother, my kids are
sure.
crying, and I love you, but I'm sorry to everybody in the room. But I heard two crying, one crying, and my wife's okay too, and I better get in there. So, brother, I'm sorry I have to ring off, but
That's all good.
please forgive me, everybody. I love y'all.
I'll finish up here, brother. I appreciate you taking the
All right,
time to come on, man. I love you, man.
love y'all. Later.
All right, brother. All right, guys. That was Hopi and G, or Harry is his real name. He didn't used to let people say his real name on air, so it's really, I get confused sometimes. I don't know what to call him. But if you guys haven't, I don't know how many you probably haven't. We share a lot of the same, viewers. But if you haven't, go subscribe to the Hopi NG channel. I do believe I have put the link in the description, so go do that. Make sure you do. He's a good guy. He's got a unique way of creating content too, which I think is very, very artistic and cool. His videos aren't like anybody else's. That was one of the things that drew me to Harry, back when I first started watching him. I mean, I watched him for forever before I ever approached him. And when I seen that spiritually, we were really similar. Um, I'm just telling you, out of all the YouTubers I've met and had on here, he's the most genuine one by a long shot. By a long shot. And a good friend. So please go subscribe to Harry's channel. Now, I guess the important thing I would really like to get across to people is, let's not. I don't want the fear and panic. I can't stand that shit. I think it's not good for the soul. It's not good for the body. None of that, man. But I do really want people to understand, like, the different things that have been enacted and what you're actually up against. Now, not everybody sees things the same way as me, and hey, some people say I'm a little dark, for their taste, and that's fine. But I just don't like to pretend that some things aren't taking place that are. It's always been how I've been. I'm not afraid of these things. Um, and I started off when I started learning all these things. To be honest, I actually was afraid of these things. That's what's crazy about it. Fear is what drove me to be a prepper and things like that. And over time, I just came to this realization that what will happen, regardless if I'm shaking in my boots about it or not. And, I had to go through a whole bunch of soul searching, a real deal dark night of the soul, um, to face everything I was afraid of, to face every screw up, to face every flaw. And it never truly ends. It's always a consistent thing that you've got to revisit because we're always a work in progress. But when I finally, and it wasn't until I was threatened with death quite a bit from outside people and constantly felt like I was in a prey position that I let go of the fear of that. And I'm telling you guys, it's easy to die. The hard part is living. It really is. The hard part is living. So you're doing the hardest part now. So don't fear the latter. We too often look at death as a punishment or something, and it's absolutely crazy. Um, Death is a birth into a new life, to be all the way honest. Like, we spend eternity on the other side, and believe it or not, you came from there before you got here. It's this place. That's only a blip. That's only temporary. You know, when you go to where you're going next, that is probably when you will truly begin to live. I never spent a long amount of time there, so I can't tell you. But I've had brief moments, and I do believe that we are eternal beings. That's my belief. I don't think this ends here. So, we have nothing to fear, and I think that these events, we'll call them, that are happening right now are they're all meant to happen. Not because of some good thing. I don't believe God creates these things. That's not my belief. A loving God wouldn't unleash biological weapons on people. A loving God wouldn't permit nuclear bombs to drop. Right? A loving God would not do those things. A wrathful God, sure, sure, hell yeah. But the God of wrath is not my God, But a loving God would give you a heads up to all of this. And a loving God would protect you through all of this. And would use it to your benefit. To make you stronger. To make you wiser. To make your heart bigger. To make your spirit brighter. That's what a loving God would do out of this kind of situation. I pointed out the manpower guidance for activation and deactivation of reserve component Marines ordered to active duty ISO defense support of civil authorities, which was signed the 3rd of October 2019. Right? And what is this for, guys? This is literally the deployment and defense support of civil authorities, which is within the United States, right? Within the United States. And it's all the, the active reserves in cooperation with Marines, right? Marine Corps personnel. And it's literally in response to a major disaster or emergency, right? What do you think we're facing right now? And speaking of major disaster emergency and, National Guard and reserves and all of these things, I'll just show the video clip I showed earlier for those who haven't got to see it, of the National Guard, coming into town or coming into Tallahassee, Florida, which, like I said, I think there's a little bit more to it, and I'll tell you why. Hold on, where's this thing at? Somewhere here, guys. Apologize. Here we go. Now, this is nuclear, biological, and let me make sure I get this right here so I don't tell anybody something wrong. Yes, National Guard. It's chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense response team with a police escort. And what I find really strange about that, yes, they're saying that there's drills and stuff like that taking place in Florida, right? There's like a National Guard Appreciation Day or something like that. So, yeah, that would be normal, right? I guess. It's weird those teams are here, but sure, that could be normal. But the thing is, everything I've seen about these type of events say, well, I've never had a police escort to drills, to these type of things. And what you'll notice is backhoes, graders, and bulldozers are in the mix here. I'll play it one more time. See? See? That, guys. That's, what do you think those things are used for? What do you think they're used for? And that's what kind of makes me pause when I see that. I'm just being honest with you. I don't want to sit here and sugarcoat anything, but I do wonder what the hell they have backhoes, graders, and bulldozers, for just something so simple. And then when you see literally, these type of orders that were signed at the end of 2019, it's like they were expecting it, and then now here they are, right? Now here they are. And anybody familiar with Executive Order 13603, I've shown this in some shows in the past. This is basically when you are in a national emergency type of situation. I'm trying to tell you, everything or you think your freedoms are taken now? You think you're being censored now? Like, you have no clue. You have no clue exactly how crazy it could get. And I'll just kind of, highlight a few areas as I scroll down here. It's a little bit easier that way. Maybe I'll do a show one day and I'll go through the whole thing. But it's a lot of material and I don't want to take up too much time because I want to show a few different things here. But, strategic and critical materials, equipment, strengthening domestic capabilities. Then this is where it gets a little bit rough. Hold on. Yes. Their provisions will include civil transportation, which includes the movements of persons and property by all modes of transportation, and interstate, intrastate, foreign commerce within the U.S., its territories and possessions, and the District of Columbia, and related public storage and warehousing, ports, services, equipment, and facilities, such as transportation carrier, shop, and repair facilities. Civil transportation also shall include direction, control, and coordination of civil transportation capacity regardless of ownership. You get that? Regardless of ownership, regardless of what the vehicle or who it's owned by. Civil transportation shall not include transportation owned or controlled by the Department of Defense, though. Yeah, except for their shit. Use of petroleum and gas pipelines and coal slurry pipelines used only to supply energy production facilities directly. Energy means all forms of energy, including petroleum, gas, both natural and manufactured, electricity, solid fuels, including all forms of coal, coke, coal chemicals, coal liquefaction, coal gasification, solar, wind, other types of renewable energy, atomic energy, and the production, conservation, use, control, and distribution, including pipelines of all these forms of energy. Farm equipment means equipment, machinery, repair parts manufactured for use on farms in connection with the production or preparation for market use of food resources. Fertilizer means any product or combination of products that can contain one or more of the elements nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium for use as a plant nutrient. Food resources, now check this out. Food resources means all commodities and products, simple, mixed, or compound, or complements to, such as commodities or products that are capable of being ingested by either human beings or animals, irrespective of other uses to which such commodities or products may be put at all stages of processing from the raw commodity to the products thereof in vendable form for human or animal consumption. Food resources also means potable water packaged in commercially marketable containers, all starches, sugars, vegetable and animal or marine fats and oils, seed, cotton, hemp, and flax fiber, but does not mean any such material after it loses its identity as an agricultural commodity or agricultural product. Food resource facilities means plants, machinery, vehicles, including on-farm, and other facilities required for the production, processing, distribution, and storage, including cold storage of food resources, and for the domestic distribution of farm equipment and fertilizer, excluding transportation thereof, because they already have transportation covered. Functions include powers, duties, authority, responsibilities, and discretion. Skip down here. Health resources means drugs, biological products, medical devices, materials, facilities, health supplies, services, and equipment to diagnose, mitigate, or prevent the impairment of, improve, treat, cure, or restore physical or mental health conditions of the population. National defense, which is military and energy production or construction, military or critical infrastructure assistance, homeland security, stockpiling, space, any directly related activity, emergency preparedness activities conducted pursuant to Title VI of the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act, which is what Trump is rocking with right now, guys. Special priorities assistance, strategic and critical materials, water resources, which is all sources within the jurisdiction of the United States that can be managed, controlled, allocated, except water resources that does not include usable water that qualifies as food resources because it's already covered under food resources. Better wake up, friends. And this is why this is not the fucking flu. You see? This is why it's not the flu. Okay? This is why it's not a heart attack. I'm not trying to be a smartass to anybody, but this is why it's different. So, I could go all the way down here and tell you how they can put you in the forced labor camps and all of that, but I'm not going to. But this is why it's different, guys. It's these type of things are being enacted, right? These type of things are being enacted. And it's popping up everywhere, Second case, New Hampshire. I can pull up the school board's letter to Salt Lake City, Utah, and their confirmed cases, which ain't even in the news. The first confirmed case in Oregon, the 9 dead in Washington State, So whether it's only a few people dead or sick or not, the consequences of this being here is what is serious to me. It's not that I think it's going to kill everybody. It's what I think they're going to do with its, with its arrival here in the United States to the population as a result. That's what I'm concerned about. Period. Every country it's hit, the store shelves are emptying. The UK, Japan, to be honest, one of the most prepared places in the world and who are probably handling it better than any other country is South Korea. South Korea, and their complaint is they don't have toilet paper. Well, I guess it's a tragedy if a bunch of people have to shit, but they're eating. So, I think that would be the least of my complaints, That'd be the least of my complaints, is the toilet paper thing. If that's the worst thing that happens, then we're good. We're good. Humans lived a hell of a long time before, toilet paper was around. So we'll be cool. I just, I think people got to understand, the implications of what these, the Stafford Preparedness Act, what all this, the war production, war powers, what these things actually mean, right? That's the problem. Americans aren't educated on these type of things, right? I see people in the chat and stuff saying, well, somebody said earlier, I won't be convinced till I see an independent archaeologist or an independent epidemiologist. No, no, no. That's the mentality that'll get you screwed. I don't need nobody to tell me anything. I want to go look with my own damn eyeballs. I want to think with my own brain. I want to figure it out. We got to stop passing the responsibility off to other people when it comes to our learning and our awareness. That's the problem. Because now they've designated those people. They own those people. They control those people, those doctors, those scientists, those politicians, right? And they all lie. They don't tell the damn truth. They have an agenda. They're controlled. That's what happens when you pass the responsibility of knowledge off to another person, right? They withhold the important information that gives them power over you. That's why knowledge is power. And we have to take that power back. You know how much more dangerous we are to a system that's trying to depopulate us, knowing these type of things, than the average American walking around with their head in the sand, and just hoping it blows over. You know what I mean? Like, we are dangerous. We're lethal weapons knowing these kind of things to them. Because we understand the actual reality. We understand the implications of all the things they're doing. We can take precautions. We can be prepared. And we can even counter those things in a lot of ways. But, like I said, most people get in this situation, panic starts to set in. This is not the time to panic. Not even close. I'm telling you, this shit has not hit the fan. Not even close. Not even close. I've been studying these things for years. We haven't scratched the surface yet of what's coming to this earth. We have not scratched the surface yet. This is just the beginning. So to lose your head now, very premature. To lose your head now, right now you still have the ability to help other people. Right now you still have the ability to lift others up. Right now, you still have the ability to spread love, information, knowledge, truth. Right now, you can still counter these things. You can affect the outcome still. Still, you can. It's when you wait till it's all gone where you can no longer affect the outcome. And that's what people are waiting on. That's what they're waiting on. They're panicked by this, right? They've decided to pull it in. They're hanging it up. They're no longer helping people. They're no longer doing anything, right? I'm not going anywhere. All this, they're hanging it up for something this simple, and they have no clue, right? That they could actually shape what this turns into by their response, by their action. We have that power. We really do. And that's why these type of communities are so dangerous, because they don't want people to know that they have that power. They don't want a bunch of us using that power, because we could shift the balance. We really could. If we woke everybody up, or just a good portion of people up, to these things and said, hey, don't freak out. Keep buying, keep sharing. If you see somebody down, lift them up. Let's not let one of us fall. We'd walk right through it. We'd come out on the other side. They couldn't implement these type of things on us. But if they keep people in the dark and they continue to freak out, they continue to go into survival mode and, just me and mine mode, right? Then they'll get what they want. They'll get what they want. That's why they're trying to black out the media and control the flow of information. They want to make sure they capitalize on this moment. And they want to help, they want you to assist them. Seriously. And you got both extremes, both ends of the polarity spectrum. You got the dummies that are over here freaking out, chickens with their heads cut off. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Ah, that are freaking other people out. That's fear porn, by the way. That's fear mongering. Not what I'm doing. This is information. If you feel fear, it's inside you, homie. It ain't in this executive order. It's in your heart. And then you got the other people on the other end of the spectrum saying, oh, it's nothing at all. It's a complete psyop, and nanodust is sprinkled by aliens to protect us. Stupidity, both ends. And this is why duality is used so easily to divide, right? It puts you in direct polarity with the other side. This is why we walk that middle way. This is why we try to bring all things into wholeness. Each one of us, we're divided by the fault line of our heart, man. Seriously. Don't let your heart be divided. This is your moment. This is what you've been preparing for. This is what you've been studying and researching for. It's on the doorstep now. It's here. So how are you going to respond? Was all this just horseshit? Was it entertainment? What was it? Or is it going to matter, those things you learn, the things you know, right? Is it going to matter? Is it going to have some substance? Did it affect you truly? Or did you just let it go in one ear and out the other? Only you can decide that. Only you can decide that. So, everybody just, we should all be thinking about, what we can do to counter these things. There is no fucking white hats from QAnon flying in on secret helicopters to save us. Alright? Everybody get that through their head. Papa Trump is not creating some secret plan to destroy the cabal. He's a part of it. Right? So as soon as we get those crazy notions out of our minds, right? Then we can understand that we're the white hats. Right? We are the resistance. We are the saviors. Do you get that? It says, behold, he's coming on a cloud. Do you know what that means? The true etymology, the root of that word, do you know what that means? He's coming in the spirit, man. He's coming in the spirit. It's a body of Christ. The Savior is here. In you. Period. No one's coming to save you. No one has to. That's the thing. No one has to. And you should be celebrating that fact. You were given all the power, all the love, all the knowledge, all the magic, all the ability in the world to save yourself. Give it up to the Creator for doing that. Most people will never, ever realize that fact. They've been taught by religion to be so external, to be so dependent on an outside force, this outside deity, an outside idol, that they will never, never realize that all that magic is within them, that you were created in the image of God. The image is the Spirit. That Spirit's in you. Christ is in you. It's not your consciousness. That's stupid. Right? That's just a saying. Christ's consciousness is just a saying. It just means it's in all of us. It doesn't mean your consciousness is Christ. That's dumb. Right? It should be called Christ's Spirit, because that's what it actually is. It's in your spirit, not your brain. The heart is the seat of the soul. That's where you bleed from. That's where you love from. That's what pumps life into your body. And that's where Christ is. Period, man. So, you have it all inside of you. Every last gift, every last thing you need is right inside of you. And guess where the truth is written? That's right, on your heart as well. Guess where you'll be judged from? Oh, yeah, your heart will be weighed. Do you see how deceptive the enemy is by even saying it's your consciousness? Right? Because that intellect, the knowledge was a gift from Satan. Right? Cosmic Christ. Right? That some reincarnation of an antichrist will be a new Jesus. Right? This is the lies of the enemy. And the New Age is probably one of the best deceptions around because it's nailed a bunch of people waking up. Right? They were disenchanted with Christianity, and the New Age deception got them. It hooked them. It broke their old indoctrination and re-indoctrinated them into a new system of Luciferianism that they don't understand. And now they're placing themselves on the throne of God without even knowing it. So, is it do what thou wilt, or thy will be done? Because I can tell you what the will of a loving God would be to be good people and to help each other out. That's simple. So, it's all inside of you, man. You got all the power. You don't need nobody else to come rescue you, dude. Use that brain of yours. All the preps you need. You know how to do those things. But don't feed into none of this nonsense, because that's what it is nonsense. Right? That's why people are panicking. Because they're feeding into it. They're buying into it. You're smarter than that. So, I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me shout a few of you guys out. Kieran Wager, James Lowe Miller, Diana Livermore, Joan Doe, Nicole Sellers, Shoshana Rose. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. If I didn't say your name, I just can't see it, so I apologize. I appreciate all you guys watching, taking the time to join me tonight. Like I said, go subscribe to Hopi and G. Harry's a good dude. Great channel. Please make sure to go to the backup channel. I do have some really kick-ass series on there. And I'm going to wait till all of you go subscribe there before I bring them to this channel. I'm going to make you go watch them over there. So, it's Best Damn Podcast. YouTube.com/Best Damn Podcast. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you, Vault Nathan. Nice to have you here, bro. So go there, subscribe. And remember, we are viewer powered, dude. And I can promise you this. When people are scared of a pandemic, they're not supporting or donating. That's for sure. So consider supporting us, helping us keep this thing going. Without your support, that's how we keep it going. So, it don't just help the channel, it helps me too. So, if you don't like my show, maybe you like me. You can do that, paypal.me/The Best Damn Podcast, venmo.com/Best Damn Podcast, or patreon.com/Best Damn Podcast. Join the Discord and the Facebook group as well. You can be with like-minded individuals, people that are on the same train of thought as you, right? That want to get the truth like you. You won't be judged. There's no religious nonsense, none of that stuff there. And that's never a thing that I try to perpetuate, is the dogma and stuff like that. I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. So freedom for everybody, and all kinds are welcome, no matter race, sex, sexual orientation, that doesn't matter, dude. Just good people that want to, be cool to each other and learn. That's it. And share this around. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all your favorite social media. Share. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And guys, seriously, please consider supporting. We need your support. It helps a lot. So, thank you guys. I love you. Remember, Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. God bless you. And I will see you next time. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Peace.